Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
Hi, yes, I'm pharmacist, nutritionist Jerry Hickey. I'm the Chief Scientific Officer over here at Invite Health. And by the way, I've been in pharmacy and nutrition for decades, since the 1970s. I grew up in the world of nutrition and pharmacy, and it grew up with me. Been a very interesting journey. In any event, several days ago I recorded an episode on the utility of vitamin C and an overview of vitamin C. And yesterday I discussed vitamin C for type 2 diabetes and vitamin C for the brain and possible protection from Alzheimer's and other dementias, and also vitamin C for heart health and lowering the risk of stroke. Today I'm going to go further steps in our discussion of vitamin C. I'm going to start discussing vitamin C and eye health. So let's start with cataracts. They're very common. A cataract is a clouding over of the lens of the eye. It's an opacity over the lens of your eye. And the lens of your eye focuses light. So this produces a very sharp, clear image for vision on your retina. And with age, your lens of your eye, it loses its flexibility and it thickens. And there's also a lot of oxidative damage from blue light and sunshine, etc., cigarette smoke and pollution. And this damages the lens, and it contributes to cataract formation, which is very common as we grow older. So your eye super concentrates vitamin C, just like your brain does. Your eye super concentrates vitamin C. In fact, in the fluids of the eye, the aqueous fluids of the eye, the concentration of vitamin C is 15 to 20 times higher than in your blood plasma. So with a drop in the level of vitamin C in the eye, they found out you have an increase in the severity of cataract production. Cataracts are worse. And also you have a higher risk of developing cataracts. So let's give you some stats on cataracts. Cataract risk starts to increase at the age of 40, unless you're a smoker, and then it might actually increase at a younger age. By the time you're 75, if you look at the typical American, about 50% of Americans have cataracts. By the time you're 80, the incidence of cataracts increases to 70%. 7 out of 10 people in their 80s develop cataracts. So they did a meta-analysis, and I've explained this in several of the episodes. A meta-analysis, researchers take existing studies, whatever they can find, that have to be high quality and lacking bias and well designed and well reported, looking at the same thing. So in this case, they're looking at vitamin C and cataracts. So they did a meta-analysis, and they actually looked at the blood plasma level of vitamin C. The plasma of the blood is the clear fluid. The serum is the red fluid of the blood. And they found that higher plasma levels of vitamin C are strongly connected with a reduced risk of developing cataracts. So why is that important? A lot of studies look at food, and you fill out a questionnaire, and that's just not very dependable. So for instance, if I say, well, I eat oranges all the time, I mean, what does that mean? But when you look at the blood, when you look at the serum concentration or the plasma concentration of nutrients, that's something beyond argument. I mean, it's just clear indication that you either get vitamin C or you don't get vitamin C. So there's also a condition called age-related macular degeneration, which is the leading cause of blindness in aging people. So cataracts cloud your vision. In fact, when you first develop a cataract, you can use stronger glasses or brighter light bulbs and get around the cataract, but eventually you're going to need cataract surgery, which is very successful, by the way. Age-related macular degeneration is a different situation. In the back of the eye, there's the choroid body with the blood vessels, and in there, that feeds and nourishes your retina. And there's a retina is where like vision takes place, but there's this protective substance in front of the retina called your macular tissue. It's kind of like a catcher's mitt, keeping bad things from getting at your macular tissue. With age, nutrients that build up your macular tissue, they're not absorbed well. And what happens, the macular tissue starts to thin, so it's not as robust anymore. So it's becoming a poor filter, and now things like blue light are penetrating into the back of the eye. And blue light is very unstable. It causes a flicker. It's a very short wave, super high energy. It causes a flicker. This flicker generates a glare, and the glare oxidizes the eye cells, and it can kill eye cells. So when you have enough of the ingredients in your blood serum, like vitamin C and zinc and lutein, they build a robust, thick filter, macular tissue, and this filters out blue light. So where do you get exposure to blue light? Well, your computer screen. I'm looking at it right now while I'm recording this. Your cell phone screen, high-definition TV sets, all those PlayStation and Xboxes, they have this high-tech background technology with light-emitting diodes that they have a lot of blue light that they emit. And this creates a glare. It uses up your nutrients in your eyes. Your macular tissue suffers, it thins, and now the blue light is penetrating into the back of the eye. And there's a lot of sensitive, very vulnerable, extremely valuable tiny organs that are needed for good vision, and they get damaged. And if the age-related macular degeneration gets too severe, you get a dark dot in the middle of your vision. You're basically blind. It's a leading cause of blindness in aging people. So a population-based cohort study, I love those. In the Netherlands, they looked at people 55 years of age and older. It's a big study. If they had a lot of vitamin C in their diet, but also zinc, beta-carotene, and vitamin E, it really led to a reduced risk of developing age-related macular degeneration. Now, I've seen a bundle of studies. I have folders of studies on vision and nutrition. And there's many studies showing that you need vitamin C for the eye, you need vitamin E, you need beta-carotene, you need zinc, you need lutein, you need zeaxanthin. All these things interact for good eye health. And by the way, they're all important for brain health too. It turns out things that are good for your eyes are good for your brain. So there's the AREDS studies, and then there's the AREDS 2 study. And these are very important studies, the age-related eye disease studies. Now, the first one, it's a large randomized placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. And it looked at specific antioxidants that concentrate in your eye to see if it could reduce your risk of macular degeneration. So they looked at vitamin C, of course. There was 500 milligrams of vitamin C in the supplement. There was also 400 units of vitamin E. There was zinc. There was beta-carotene, a little bit of copper. You don't need the copper really for the eye. The problem is when you get high doses of zinc, it depletes the body of copper. But most people get plenty of copper, plus it's in their multivitamin. So when I make an eye formula, I don't bother with the copper, because I do expect the same people to be taking a multivitamin. So they found that people who took this AREDS formula, it really reduced their risk of developing advanced age-related macular degeneration. That's where the macular tissue gets so thin that so much blue light is getting into the back of the eye, it's just destroying vision. These people literally are going blind. So this was almost 3,600 older people with varying levels of age-related macular degeneration. And they followed them for, on average, about 6.5 years. And the people who were at high risk of developing the dangerous macular degeneration is called neovascular. And neovascular age-related macular degeneration, the little blood vessels in the back of the eye, the choroid body in the back of the eye, they're literally bursting and robbing you of vision, that it really had an impact. If you took the antioxidants, it reduced it. These people already have macular degeneration. They're at risk of going blind. It reduced their risk of going blind by 28%. It prevented a progression to advanced age-related macular degeneration by 28%. Now, there was the follow-up ARIDS 2 study. Same thing, it confirmed it. Over a 5-year period, there was no doubt about it, reduced the risk of developing age-related macular degeneration. So let's look at the common cold. Yesterday, I discussed vitamin C and the immune system, how really important immune cells that get to the infection, the site of an infection very quickly, they require vitamin C to get activated and get there. That's called chemotaxis. And they require vitamin C also to kill the infection. That's called respiratory burst. And if you're lacking vitamin C, not enough of these cells are functioning at an adequate level to protect you from a virus like the COVID-19 virus or swine flu or bird flu or anything like that. Now, I spoke to Linus Pauling, which was thrilling for me. Linus Pauling won multiple Nobel Prizes, one for his research on DNA and one as a Nobel Prize for Peace. A brilliant guy. I mean, when you pick up the phone, he was in Oregon. When you pick up the phone and you talk to someone like Linus Pauling, you could feel their brain power coming over the phone. It was just amazing. But in the 1970s, Linus Pauling was already talking about vitamin C helping to prevent colds. And that's what they're finding. They find in people who are very active that if you take vitamin C prophylactically means before you get a cold, preventatively, that it really helped reduce the symptoms and reduce the duration of the cold. The cold was a shorter duration and much milder. So, we're talking about like runners, bodybuilders, soldiers, skiers, dancers, marathon runners, people who do a lot of exercise, or people who live in tough environments like, cold environments like up in Maine in the winter or Vermont. Giving them prophylactic vitamin C, anywhere from 250 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams a day, reduced their incidence of getting a cold by 50%. And the same in the general population. If you gave people, regular healthy people, we're not talking about these extreme warriors or extreme athletes, etc., but, regular people that play tennis once in a while, etc., if you give them vitamin C on a daily basis, they have fewer colds. And the cold lasts for a shorter time, and the symptoms are milder. So the findings: regular intake of vitamin C, daily basis of at least like 250 milligrams a day, 1,000 milligrams a day. It's helpful in people who do like extreme exercise, extreme physical activity, or live in like tough environments, cold climates. If you raise their vitamin C status above marginal, they're less likely to get a cold. The cold is milder, the symptoms are milder. They get rid of the cold faster. This is very important for older people. Our immune system don't work as well. It's very important for smokers because smoking uses up your vitamin C. Now, I want to talk about vitamin C and cancer, and I think that might be a lengthy episode. So I want to thank you for tuning into our podcast at Invite Health, and I want to tell you where you could find us. You could just go to our website, invitehealth.com, and just scan down and you'll see an icon for the podcast, or go to invitehealth.com/podcast. We store all our podcasts there, or any place you listen to your podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. It could be iHeartRadio or all those Apple websites, etc. Please subscribe. Please leave us a review, and you could follow us on all those social media things like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or at Invite Health. And please, I hope to see you the next time on my next episode of the Invite Health podcast. And once again, thank you so much for listening.